It really is a hidden gem here nestled along the Mississippi River that few people in the St. Louis region really know about.
Jefferson Barracks is a great place for people of this community, in fact, people of the nation, to come and show respect not only to all the fallen heroes who are buried here, but what this site represents to our country's history.
Can you imagine in 1826, this is 1,702 acres of land. It was purchased for $5. Can you imagine that? $5. So we have an historic site that only cost this country $5.
So we had bragging rights on being the oldest formal military installation west of the Mississippi here, and so we're very proud of the heritage. There's a lot here at Jefferson Barracks that I hope more people get to know about.
I came into Jefferson Barracks. I was drafted 1943, showed up here in December, colder than Billy Hell out there on that hill. I got a 5th grade education. Had no idea that I would ever be anything other than a street bum kid. I come in that gate and my whole world changed.
Jefferson Barracks is one of those places like Ellis Island where these huge transitions have taken place, from immigrant to citizen, from civilian to soldier.
When we think about the history of St. Louis, the very first thing that comes to most people's mind is downtown St. Louis, the old courthouse, the riverfront, those kinds of things. But Jefferson Barracks, with its history, is really just as important a resource, a historical resource and landmark to the St. Louis area.
Jefferson Barracks was, of course, for many years, the largest military post in the whole United States Army. Something I think a lot of people don't realize, however, about military posts, and most specifically Jefferson Barracks, is that while the officers were largely native-born Americans, most of the soldiers were immigrants, and they were recently off the boat, and they joined the Army because it was 3 square meals a day and a suit of clothes to wear. In some cases, say in the case of Germans, it was an opportunity to learn the language.
You really walk in the footsteps of history, of giants of history, really, that have passed through this place, from generals to presidents to everyday soldiers, the famous Buffalo soldiers that came through here. You can really get a feel for what this place was like.
You know, tens of thousands of men and some women passed through Jefferson Barracks, either on their way into the military or their way out.
You would have to be here to really realize what Jefferson Barracks was in the 1940s. 60,000 people here at any one time. What I liked about most of it, we all had the same kind of clothes. I didn't look like any more like a bum than the rest of the guys did. That's probably the first time I ever owned my own first pair of brand new shoes.
I don't think there's any other place in the country that tells the story of the citizen soldier better than Jefferson Barracks. The story of how citizens have stepped up all across our country's history to defend our country and then return home to their families.
So a hallmark of the American military throughout most of its existence until recent decades has really been that it's a volunteer army comprised of citizens on a really ancient model of people being called from the farms and the fields, in this case factories and other places, into the military, but coming in primarily with a set of concerns as citizens, not as soldiers, and then spending their time in the military and returning to civilian life.
I think most Americans have deep respect for the strength of our military. I'm not sure that we remember often enough that so much of that strength is because of the citizen soldier. Uniquely among world powers, we have ordinary citizens that step across the line and say, I want to serve. They come into the military, they gain valuable leadership skills, wonderful experience, show their bravery and courage, and then they step back across the line and become valuable members of their communities. It is that citizen soldier, I think, that has really made our military the envy of the world.
As I always say, the Guard's mission is really to help good people out of bad circumstances and protect them from bad people. So I hope that we can convey to them, what we do, and that it's our privilege to serve them.
Being in the military for 3 years, serving in Vietnam, it gave me a great appreciation of what freedom really means. What it means when people say you have a right to do something, you have a right to disagree with the government, you have a right to do this. Well, people fought for that right.
Every day we have full-time both Air National Guard and Army National Guard here at Jefferson Barracks. All total, we have probably about 1,200 roughly Army and Air, probably about 1,000 to 1,150 Army, and about 350 Air National Guard.
What happens here at Jefferson Barracks today is actually much more important than most people would recognize. It's an air operations center that can be used worldwide with modern communications, satellite links, and all of those things that are a key asset to fighting wars in the world today.
The fact that we have Guard units that are still here, along with the important health care that we provide here at Jefferson Barracks for many of our veterans and our wounded, together, I think all of those activities reflect so well on the history and heritage of Jefferson Barracks.
I'd like to see Jefferson Barracks develop today in really a combination of focusing on the historic value of what's here in terms of economic development, tourism, and education around the historic nature of Jefferson Barracks, but also developing the modern day mission of the military and citizen soldiers that continue to serve here.
The Heritage Foundation is doing something that's very important. It's pulling everyone together in support of a goal that is so laudable. If you've been to Jefferson Barracks, you'll never forget it.
We've got to make sure our kids understand the history of the United States. We need to fund it. We need to fund it at the best level we can possibly can.
We get requests for funding projects, and it is always hard to sort out which are the most important. But as a historical landmark, as an important piece of St. Louis history, this is one of those things that we need to preserve for our children, for future generations, so they can all see how important this place is.
I have a sense that when we reacquaint ourselves and place ourselves in places where history really happened, is the most tangible proof that history's real, that we're part of a continuing stream of people charged with building and caring for this nation.
I was afraid it was going to be a housing project. Well, people like the Heritage Foundation, they're trying to keep it going. If I have to go out there and pull weeds or move a couple of bricks around to make it look better, by God, I'm going to go right behind them.